The little girl's words hung in the air like a wish made on a falling star. "Dad, I want you to marry her," 7-year-old Lily whispered, her eyes fixed on the elegant woman across the café. Mark's coffee cup froze halfway to his lips as he followed his daughter's gaze to the striking businesswoman typing furiously on her laptop. How could he explain to his daughter that life wasn't as simple as fairy tales made it seem? That a struggling single father working 2 jobs could never catch the attention of someone who looked like she ran the world before breakfast? If you've ever believed in second chances or that love finds us when we least expect it, this story will touch your heart. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming stories that remind us of the unexpected ways life can change in an instant. Mark Bennett hadn't planned on raising his daughter alone. But life had other plans when his wife Emma died during childbirth, leaving him with a newborn daughter and a grief so profound he sometimes forgot to breathe. 7 years later, he had built a life around Lily, imperfect, sometimes chaotic, but filled with love. That Friday afternoon had started like any other. Mark had picked up Lily from school and brought her to the cafe where he worked evening shifts as a barista. His boss allowed Lily to sit at the corner table with her homework until his shift started, when Mrs. Rodriguez from next door would come to take her home. "Daddy, can I have a hot chocolate?" Lily asked, her front tooth missing and her pigtails slightly askew from a day of second-grade adventures. "Of course, princess. Let me get settled first." Mark hung up his jacket and tied his apron around his waist. The cafe was moderately busy, with the usual mix of students, remote workers, and people catching up over coffee. That's when she walked in. Even in a city of 8 million people, some presences commanded attention. The woman who entered wore a tailored charcoal suit that spoke of boardrooms and important decisions. Her dark hair was pulled back in a sleek ponytail, and she carried herself with the confidence of someone who knew exactly who she was and where she was going. "Black coffee, largest size you have," she said when she reached the counter, barely looking up from her phone. "Name for the order?" Mark asked, marker poised over the cup. "Alexandra," she replied, finally glancing up. For a brief moment, their eyes met, and Mark felt something shift in the atmosphere between them, a recognition, perhaps, or simply the acknowledgement that exists between 2 strangers whose paths cross. The moment passed as quickly as it came. Alexandra paid, moved to the pickup counter, and then settled at a table near the window, opening her laptop immediately. Mark prepared her coffee with the same care he gave every order, but he couldn't help stealing glances at her as she worked. There was something compelling about her focus, the way her brow furrowed slightly when she read something on her screen. He was so distracted that he almost forgot Lily's hot chocolate until she appeared at his side. "Daddy, my chocolate," she reminded him, her small hand tugging at his apron. "Sorry, sweetheart. Coming right up." He prepared her drink, adding extra whipped cream and a sprinkle of cinnamon the way she liked it. As he handed it to her, Lily's attention drifted to Alexandra. "Who's that lady, Daddy? She looks like a princess from my books." Mark smiled at his daughter's observation. "She's just a customer, Lily. Now go finish your math homework before Mrs. Rodriguez comes." Lily nodded but continued to stare at Alexandra as she returned to her table. Mark watched as his daughter sipped her hot chocolate, her eyes never leaving the businesswoman by the window. An hour into his shift, Mark noticed Alexandra signaling for a refill. He approached her table, coffee pot in hand. "Refill?" he offered. She looked up, and this time her expression was softer than before. "Please. I've got a proposal due tomorrow, and I'm nowhere near finished." "Sounds stressful," Mark commented as he poured. "Part of the job," she replied with a small smile. "I'm the CEO of a tech startup. We're pitching to investors tomorrow." Mark was about to respond when Lily appeared at his side again, clutching her math worksheet. "Daddy, I need help with this problem," she said, then turned to Alexandra. "Are you a real princess?" Alexandra's expression transformed from surprise to amusement. "No, I'm afraid not." Just a regular person who works with computers. But you're so pretty, Lily insisted. Like the princesses in my books. Mark felt his face flush with embarrassment. Lily, that's not, I'm sorry, he said to Alexandra. But Alexandra was smiling genuinely now. That's quite a compliment. Thank you. She paused, waiting for the little girl's name. Lily, she supplied proudly. I'm 7. Well, Lily, I'm Alexandra. I'm 32. She extended her hand formally, and Lily shook it with all the seriousness a 7-year-old could muster. Do you like math? Alexandra asked, noticing the worksheet in Lily's hand. Lily wrinkled her nose. It's hard sometimes. May I? Alexandra gestured to the paper, and Lily handed it over without hesitation. Ah, addition with carrying. I remember learning this. To Mark's surprise, Alexandra cleared a space at her table and patted the chair beside her. Would you like me to show you a trick that makes it easier? Lily looked at her father for permission, and Mark nodded, touched by the unexpected kindness. I should get back to work, but thank you. That's very kind. It's no problem. I could use a break from these spreadsheets anyway, Alexandra said, already helping Lily into the chair. For the next 15 minutes, as Mark served other customers, he watched Alexandra patiently explaining math concepts to his daughter. Lily was nodding enthusiastically, her face lit up with understanding. It was a side of the businesswoman he wouldn't have expected, gentle, patient, and surprisingly good with children. When Mrs. Rodriguez arrived to take Lily home, the little girl was reluctant to leave her new friend. Can Alexandra come over for dinner sometime, Daddy? Lily asked loudly enough for half the café to hear. Mark wanted the floor to open up and swallow him whole. Lily, that's not, Ms. Alexandra is very busy with her important job. Alexandra closed her laptop and began gathering her things. Actually, I'd love to, but your dad is right. I am quite busy. She knelt down to Lily's level. It was lovely meeting you, Lily. You're going to be great at math. As Mrs. Rodriguez led Lily away, the little girl turned back and, in a stage whisper that carried clearly across the quiet café, said, Dad, I want you to marry her. The café fell silent. Mark stood frozen, mortification washing over him in waves. Alexandra's eyes widened, and for a moment, no one seemed to know what to say. Then, unexpectedly, Alexandra laughed, a genuine, warm sound that broke the tension. Well, that's the most straightforward proposal I've ever received, even if it is by proxy. Mark found his voice at last. I am so sorry. Kids, you know. He trailed off, wishing he could disappear. Don't apologize, Alexandra said, still smiling. It's refreshing, actually. Most people I meet want something from me, funding, connections, advice. Your daughter just wants her dad to be happy. She gathered her belongings and stood to leave. That says a lot about how you're raising her. With that, she left, leaving Mark to wonder if he'd just experienced the most embarrassing moment of his life or something else entirely. The next day, Mark was surprised when Alexandra returned to the café. She ordered her usual black coffee but this time asked if she could speak with him when he had a moment. During his break, Mark approached her table nervously. About yesterday. I wanted to thank you, Alexandra interrupted. Your daughter's interruption was exactly what I needed. After she left, I had a breakthrough on my proposal. The investors loved it this morning. That's great, Mark said, relieved that she wasn't there to complain about Lily's behavior. I also wanted to give you this. She handed him a business card. My personal number is on the back. I thought maybe we could have coffee sometime. Not here, obviously. Somewhere you're not working. Mark stared at the card in disbelief. You want to have coffee with me? Alexandra's professional demeanor slipped for a moment, revealing a hint of vulnerability. I haven't made time for anything but work in years. Your daughter reminded me that there's more to life than quarterly reports and investor meetings." Before Mark could respond, she continued, "No pressure. Just coffee. And maybe you could bring Lily. I really did enjoy meeting her." That coffee date turned into dinner the following week. Mark learned that Alexandra, Alex to her friends, had built her company from nothing after leaving a toxic corporate environment. She'd sacrificed her personal life for professional success and was only now realizing what she'd missed. For her part, Alex was drawn to Mark's dedication to his daughter and his resilience in the face of tragedy. She admired how he'd built a life focused on love rather than achievement, something her own upbringing had never emphasized. Lily, of course, was thrilled. In her 7-year-old mind, she had successfully match-made her father with a princess, and no one had the heart to correct her perception. The path wasn't smooth. Alex's world of board meetings and international business trips collided with Mark's reality of school pickups and tight budgets. There were misunderstandings and adjustments on both sides. 3 months into their relationship, they had their first serious argument when Alex offered to pay for Lily to attend an expensive private school. "I can provide for my daughter," Mark had said, pride stiffening his voice. "I know you can," Alex replied. "But why shouldn't she have every advantage if it's available?" "Because I don't want her growing up thinking money solves everything. And I don't want to be your charity case." Alex had stepped back, hurt flashing across her face. "Is that what you think this is? Charity?" They didn't speak for 3 days after that, the longest 3 days of Mark's life. It was Lily who bridged the gap, asking repeatedly when they would see Alex again, her little face crumpling with confusion over the sudden absence of someone who had become important to her. Mark finally called, and they met at a park. As they watched Lily play on the swings, they talked honestly about their fears and expectations. "I've never needed anyone," Alex admitted. "It scares me how much I want to be part of your lives. And I've been so focused on proving I can do this alone that I forgot it's okay to accept help sometimes," Mark replied. "Not because I need it, but because it comes from love." That conversation marked a turning point. They began to build something new together, not Mark's life or Alex's life, but a shared vision that incorporated the best of both worlds. A year after Lily's fateful whisper in the café, Mark found himself standing in Alex's office after hours, Lily beside him, both of them holding small gift boxes. "What's this surprise visit for?" Alex asked, delighted but puzzled. Lily bounced on her toes. "Open mine first." Inside Lily's box was a handmade bracelet of colorful beads and a card that read, "To my almost mom." Alex's eyes filled with tears as she hugged Lily tightly. "This is beautiful. I'll wear it every day." "Now Daddy's turn," Lily prompted, practically vibrating with excitement. Mark knelt down, not in front of Alex but facing Lily. "Remember what we talked about, princess? About how much we both love Alex?" Lily nodded solemnly. "And remember how you once told me you wanted me to marry her?" Another enthusiastic nod. "Well, I'm going to ask her now. Is that okay with you?" "Yes," Lily exclaimed. "I've been waiting forever." Mark turned to Alex, who stood watching them with her hand pressed to her mouth. He opened the small box in his hand, revealing a simple but elegant diamond ring. "Alexandra Chen, my daughter and I are a package deal. We come with school projects and movie nights and sometimes tears over math homework. But we also come with more love than I ever thought possible after losing Emma. You've shown me that the heart can heal and grow in ways I never imagined. Will you marry us, both of us, and make our family complete?" Alex looked from Mark to Lily and back again, tears streaming down her face. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes to both of you. To all of it." As Mark slipped the ring onto her finger, Lily threw her arms around both of them. "I knew it," she declared triumphantly. "I knew you were supposed to be our princess. Their wedding 6 months later was small but joyful. Lily served as both flower girl and best daughter, proudly walking down the aisle ahead of Alex. During the reception, Mrs. Rodriguez, who had become a dear friend to the family, raised her glass for a toast. To the little matchmaker, she said, nodding toward Lily, who saw what these two needed before they knew it themselves. Later that evening, as Mark and Alex shared their first dance as husband and wife, Lily watched from the side, her face glowing with happiness. A guest leaned down to her and asked, "Are you happy with your new mom?" Lily's answer was immediate and certain. "She was always supposed to be my mom. I just had to help Daddy find her." 5 years later, Mark stood in the doorway of their home office, watching Alex as she worked. She was still the driven CEO, but now she structured her schedule around family dinners and school events. The company had actually grown more successful with her balanced approach to leadership. Beside him, 12-year-old Lily leaned against his shoulder, her height now reaching his chin. Their family had expanded to include 3-year-old twins, Emma and James, who were currently napping after a morning of energetic play. "What are you two staring at?" Alex asked, looking up from her computer with a smile. "Just thinking about how it all started," Mark replied. With a little girl's whisper in a café. Lily rolled her eyes in that preteen way she'd recently perfected. "You guys would have figured it out eventually. I just sped things up." Alex laughed and held out her arms. Lily went to her for a hug, no longer the small child who believed in princesses, but a young woman beginning to understand the real magic of love and family. "Thank you for speeding things up," Alex whispered to her. "Best thing that ever happened to me." As Mark watched his wife and daughter embrace, he reflected on the journey that had brought them here. From loss and loneliness to a full house echoing with laughter and occasional chaos. From a single dad struggling to make ends meet to a man whose heart was so full it sometimes felt like it might burst. All because a little girl looked at a beautiful stranger and saw not just a princess from her storybooks, but the missing piece of her family's puzzle. Life doesn't always give us what we expect. Sometimes it takes away what we love most, leaving us to rebuild from the ashes of our plans. And sometimes, when we least expect it, it sends us exactly what we need in the most unlikely package. For Mark, it came in the form of a driven businesswoman who taught his daughter math tricks in a cafe. For Alex, it was a barista and his outspoken daughter who reminded her that success meant nothing without someone to share it with. And for Lily, it was the family she had always imagined, brought together by her innocent wish and unwavering belief that happy endings weren't just for fairy tales. Their story reminds us that love often finds us when we're busy making other plans, and that sometimes the wisest among us are those who still see the world through the hopeful, unfiltered eyes of childhood. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more tales of unexpected love and second chances. Remember that your own happy ending might be just a whispered wish away.